Yeah, so just as I said, socialization is defined as the process by which societal values, norms, including those pertaining to gender, are taught and learned. So through interacting with people within our communities, within the society, that's where we learn new norms, society's values, including those things pertaining to gender. So if, as a woman, things that females do, you learn through interaction with others, as you watch or observe other people. So it is a lifelong process. As I said, we continue to learn, we continue to interact with people. We are here, we come from different regions, we have different cultures. So as we are here, we share different cultures, different mode of dressing. So it's a lifelong process. It doesn't end like maybe if when you are a kid, it ends there. So we continue to learn different cultures. For other people, for example, who never wore trousers maybe during their primary and secondary, you find maybe they just start when they're in college, not even in year one, maybe year 3 or 4. Yeah. So that's how we learn new behaviors. So sometimes socialization can take place cautiously, sometimes uncautiously. You know that you want to change. Sometimes it just happens automatically, unconsciously. For example, a girl being scolded for climbing trees. You know, in our society, it's like when you climb a tree, people be laughing at you or mocking you. You like climbing trees as if you are a boy because we associate climbing trees with boys. So cautiously, if you find a girl climbing trees, you tell her, no, you don't have to climb trees, or being scolded, because if you scold that girl next time, will not climb that tree again. It means you are cautiously trying to discipline this girl not to climb trees. And also, even a boy being laughed for spending much time with maybe the mother in the kitchen. Because we know most ways girls helping women or mothers when they are cooking. So by being laughed, it means the boy will change. You'll be like, if I go in the kitchen with my mom again, people will laugh at me. So in the long run, they stop helping the mom in the kitchen. So it's like trying to cautiously socialize this boy. As we say, this is what you are supposed to do, this is not what you are supposed to do. So socialization takes place through the agents of socialization. The agents of socialization, the peers, family, friends, the educational system, the media, religion, these are the agents of socialization, where we learn, we interact with people. We interact and learn new things. So these are the agents of socialization. And the family, the first and the most enduring unit of socialization or agent of socialization, because you stay with your family for a very long time. You learn religion from your family. We, like the issue of race, ethnicity, most of the things we learn through the family. So this is the most and enduring agent of socialization. Because if we talk of peers or educational system, maybe you be here at school, then you'll be home. And when we are in nursery, primary school, in most cases, you'll be coming from home. So we learn a lot of things from our homes. But we can also learn in class through peer groups. We learn new behaviors in peer groups. So different families socialize their children differently. Different families. For other people, for example, maybe if you have families, you may socialize both boys and girls to cook, to prepare food. But in other families, you realize it's girl child who is supposed to cook. That's how you socialize your kids. For other parents, you can't find a boy cooking. But for others, they share maybe the responsibilities, like they chose equally. If I cook in the afternoon, if I cook lunch, you prepare dinner. If I wash plates in the afternoon, the evening plates, it'll be you cleaning them. So different families socialize their kids or their children differently. And also children socialize as they play, as you are playing. They also socialize, learn new behaviors. That's why sometimes if you are in, you come home, maybe you receive a report, amatukwana. Because as they are playing, they learn from each other, language, behaviors, they learn a lot of things. So even the children as they play. That's why for some parents, they choose who should be playing with their kids. Some are also trained. They don't allow their kids to play with maybe certain kids because of their behaviors. Because they know as they interact with them, they can learn maybe strange behaviors. So gender socialization begins at birth and occurs through major agents of socialization, just as I said. So as soon as we are born, and even before birth, if we are from a country that views gender specifically male or female, we have entered the socially constructed binary. If we're in a country that views gender specifically as males and females, it means you have entered the socially constructed binary. As we said, gender is socially constructed. So as you are born in Malawi, you know, as if I'm female, I'm expected to perform these roles. If I'm male, I'm expected to play these roles. So theoretical perspectives on socialization. Theoretical perspectives on socialization. So three major theoretical perspectives. These three perspectives are the ones which explain socialization process. How do people socialize? How do people learn new behaviors? So we have psychoanalytic theory, social learning theories, and cognitive developmental theories. Psychoanalytic theories, social learning, and cognitive developmental theories. So let's start with psychoanalytic theory. Psychoanalytic theories, which is based on the work of Sigmund Freud. I'm sure you are familiar with Sigmund Freud. You haven't learned anything about Sigmund Freud? Sigmund Freud theories, psychoanalytic theory by Sigmund Freud. When did you join the university? You started year one here, but we learn in introduction to psychology. So if you learned introduction to psychology, you should know Sigmund Freud. So psychoanalytic theories emphasize the influence of the unconscious mind and early childhood experience on socialization. Psychoanalytic theories emphasizes the influence of the unconscious mind and early childhood experiences on socialization. So for Sigmund Freud, the early childhood experiences have an impact or an influence on our behavior, even as we grow. Early childhood experiences. That's why even as we are growing up, we behave differently. Some early childhood experiences. For some people, maybe who made or experienced some traumatic situations, maybe involved in an accident or loss of a mother or a father at an early stage, it also affects them. So it influences how you behave now. Some people, for example, if you find some people, maybe they choose to be lonely. If you find out why they choose to be lonely, sometimes it's because of their childhood experiences, maybe some traumatic experiences. I have a friend who likes to be lonely. Sometimes he'll be like, I'm tired of seeing people. I just want to be alone. So this other time when we were chatting, I was like, you know what? I was a very good friend to my mom and my dad. So when she lost both of her parents, like, was it at the age of 8, if not 12? She thought she doesn't have any friend on earth. So since that time until now, she likes being lonely. Like she doesn't care whether she is lonely. No, actually, she enjoys loneliness. So you can see how it has affected her behavior right now. If you go somewhere, maybe you feel like you're having fun, but you just hear, "I'm tired. I just want to go home. I'm tired of seeing people. I'm tired of interacting with people." So early childhood experiences have a very big influence on behaviors as we grow up. So maybe someone experienced some form of harassment. Maybe later on, maybe was sexually harassed. Later on, as they grow, they just fear men, you see. So that's about psychoanalytic theories and also the influence of the unconscious mind. Sometimes we have some things in our memory which are kept in the unconscious mind that we may not be aware of what is hidden in our thoughts or our thoughts in our mind. We may not be aware of what is in our mind. Some things which are kept in the unconscious mind. Sometimes you find someone, they just act anyhow, maybe become aggressive because of the things which are in the unconscious mind. So when they come to the um, things that are repressed in the unconscious mind. So when they come to the awareness of the person, sometimes you just react anyhow because you have those thoughts or feelings which are in the unconscious mind. Things that we are not aware, we keep them in our mind. So they also have an impact on socialization because they affect how we behave and interact with people.
So, madam, like the second point, is it like saying that he has to do somebody's past
The issue of unconscious mind.
or psychoanalytic?
Yeah, I mean, you mean on childhood experiences or the issue? Yes, early childhood experiences, things that you experienced when you were a kid. So, if you had, for example, a traumatic experience, they also affect you the way you behave now. Maybe you were raped, you were not happy. Actually, no one will be happy with being raped. When you grow up, like your behavior, maybe you develop a negative attitude towards men. Maybe you were grown up in an aggressive, with an aggressive parents, or maybe aggressive father who used to beat your mother. For other people, they also become aggressive when they grow up. They just feel it's normal. So some early childhood experiences also affect how we behave now. So Freud proposed that personality is composed of three elements: the id, which are the instinctual desires; the ego, realistic mediator; and the superego, moral science. So for him, socialization involves development and balance of these elements: the instincts, the instinctual desires of, like you as a human being; the realistic mediator, the ego; the reality. This is based on reality principle, things which are real. And also the superego, the moral core science, as you interact, like the morals. So the interaction between those three, if they are balanced, like socialization involves the balance of those three: the instinct, reality, and moral core science. They should balance. So do you know the id, ego, and superego? Did you guys really learn introduction psychology? Okay. Below, I would maybe you just forgot, eh? Yeah. So his perspective of Sigmund Freud is known as identification theory, and it tries to explain personality development, how personality develops. So his concern was to explain why boys and girls develop different personalities. Why do boys and girls develop different personalities. And according to Freud, children pass through a series of stages in personality development. These are the stages of personality development: oral stage, anal stage, phallic, latency, and genital stage. Children pass through a series of stages in personality development. So we have the oral, anal, phallic, latency, and genital stages. So successful navigation of these three stages is crucial for healthy social development. So, so I think I'll provide the notes on issues of personality development, the stages of personality development, because this was introduction to psychology. That's why we learn introduction to psychology, so that we know some of these theories, because we'll be applying them now and again. So on oral stage, it means like the children find satisfaction in putting things on their mouth. That's why you find most of the kids, when the children, the babies, they like putting things in their mouth. That's the oral stage. The anal stage, they found they get satisfaction through defecation, excreting. So that's the anal stage. Then we have the phallic stage, latency. I think phallic will talk a bit of it as we go. Latency and genital stage. Genital stage as we grow up. The issue of sexual desires. So those are the stages of personality development. So I will try to just share you little notes about these personality development stages, so that you make sense when you are studying. So according to Freud, early childhood experiences influence personality development and social behavior. According to Freud, early childhood experiences influence personality development and social behavior. And childhood experiences and unresolved conflicts can influence behavior and personality in childhood. So the what we exhibit as we are babies, what we do as we are babies, the experiences that we experience as we are young, they have an influence on our behavior, on our personality. So, for example, there's an example when you are looking at oral stage, they say for those people, sometimes we have people who find satisfaction in putting things in their mouth. So, as you are kids, like babies, they like putting everything. So that's why we even have other people, even as they grow, yeah, those kind of people. So it affects also issues of behavior and personality in childhood. Each stage involves resolving conflicts that contribute to social and emotional development, and family interactions during these stages significantly affect socialization. So during oral and anal stage, like for babies, the kids, they do not really differentiate between being a boy and a girl. They just see the world as similar for them. But as they enter into phallic stages, when they start differentiating, like, oh, I'm a boy, when they look at their genitalia, that they are different from the males or females, like girls or boys. So, for instance, the resolution of Oedipus and or Electra complex during the phallic stage can shape gender identity and social roles. The resolution of Oedipus complex and Electra complex during phallic stage can shape gender roles. So let's look at oral and anal stages of child development. So during these two stages, anal and oral, boys and girls are said to be fairly similar in their behavior and experiences during anal and oral stages. That's why you see babies, they'll be, even if they are kids, they'll be playing with, you find a boy playing with teddy bears, babies, like because at this stage, they're said to be fairly similar in their behavior and experiences. This is because of their emotions. They are more attached to their mothers. You know, as you are babies, in most of the times you are attached to your mother. you want to breastfeed, you'll be taking care of you. Like the mothers will be taking care of all the needs of the babies. So for both the mother is the chief objective of their emotions. Since the mother is the one who takes care of them and meets all their needs. And the difference comes when the children get to age of 4, when they become aware of their own genitalia and that they differ from others. So as they are growing, now they realize or they become aware of the difference in terms of their genitalia. They'll say, oh, so I'm a boy, this one is a girl. They start differentiating, but when they are just babies, they don't even recognize that they are different. So when they begin to realize these differences, this is the beginning of third stage, which is the phallic stage. When they start to realize that, oh, I'm a boy, this one is a girl. When they see the differences in the form, in their genitalia. So during this stage, identification takes place, and children begin to unconsciously model behavior after their parent of the same sex. This is the identification stage. Now they are trying to identify themselves with the same sex parent. If you are a boy, you start to model behavior of your father. If you are a girl, you start modeling the behavior of your mother. So they start to learn and behave the way the sex parent behaves. Now, because they have started, they know they have different genitalia. Yeah, I think from 6, I don't know. So when they started coming up with those differentiations, now they know we are different. So when they realize that they are different, they start to model or to copy behavior of the same sex parent. The difference between the development of different personalities between boys and girls is said to come from what Freud calls penis envy for girls and castration anxiety for boys. The difference between the development of the different personalities. So at phallic stage, children develop what is called Oedipus complex, where a child develops a strong attachment to the parent of the opposite sex. Oedipus complex at phallic stage. So they start to develop or they get attached to the parent of the opposite sex. They identify themselves as a girl and a boy, and they start copying or modeling behavior of their parents or of their mother or father. But at the same time, they develop a strong attachment to the parent of the opposite sex. That's why in most cases you'll be like girls, we usually be daddy's girls or mommy's boy. That's the stage because you develop a strong attachment to that parent of opposite sex. So, of course, where there is red, I thought you already know about these stages of personality development. I plan to skip. So that was my plan. I wanted to skip because I thought you already know these stages. So for the boy, the love for his mother becomes more sexual. Views his father as his rival, and getting jealous when they have this so strong attachment. So for boys, they also get strong attachment to their mothers, and this attachment or relationship becomes more sexual. The attachment, and start to view their father as rival. So it's like be competing for the mother. The father and the boy will be competing for the mother. And Freud says that what quickly cures this boy of his jealousy is a quick glimpse somehow of the female genitalia, where he finds that there is no penis but a small clitoris. And to him, the clitoris is the remains of what used to be a penis, which he thinks was castrated. So his jealousy is cured by just viewing or seeing the female genitalia. And when he looks at the female genitalia and finds out there is no penis and looks that there is just a small clitoris. So for the boy, he thinks the girl or the mother had a penis, but she was castrated. That's why he just have a small clitoris. So for him, what remains used to be a penis after castration. And it creates fear in him. He may also fall a victim to castration. I remember, but maybe one day they also castrate me and I'll start looking like a girl. If he continues to compete with his father and resolves to be more like him and identifies with the father. So because he's afraid, if he continues to be jealous and to fight for the mother, one day maybe the father, if he's angry, will just castrate him to look like the mother. So that's what cures him. So through identification, boys assume the values and roles of their fathers. So this is just explanation of the phallic stage. But if we look at the issues of socialization, it's through the identification, when they start identifying themselves as a father. So through identification, boys assume the values and roles of their fathers. Because now they feel they're afraid of being castrated, they just try to identify themselves as a father. Like they stop to be a competitor of their father. They just want to be more like him and identifies themselves with the father. And through identification, they start assuming the roles of a father and a mother. If it's a girl, who assume the roles of a mother. So on the other hand, the girl is said to develop penis envy at the first sight of a male genitalia. When she compares her clitoris with the penis is seen as more superior because of its size. She thinks that she might have been castrated to have such an inferior member, which she resolves is a deformity. So for the girl, she feels inferior by just looking at the small clitoris, which she thinks was castrated, like previously was a penis. So because of this, she develops a sense of incompleteness, becomes jealous of boys, and has feelings of disdain for her mother and all women, since they share what she thinks, what she sees is deformity. So as they are still kids at a certain level, they feel like it's a deformity to have a clitoris because they were castrated. Like maybe they were born normal. That's where the issue of inferiority in women started. It starts with those issues. They start feeling inferior. So she shifts her love to her father, who possessed the coveted penis, and begins to identify with her mother as a means of winning him. So, because as we say, they become daddy's girls. Where am I? So she starts to identify herself with the mother, but she has this feeling for the father. So eventually the girl realized that she can have the penis in two ways. Firstly, through sexual intercourse, and secondly, symbolically, by having a baby, especially a baby boy. Yeah, this is according to Sigmund Freud. We can't debate. So her wish to have a penis leads her to love men, since they have a penis and can provide a baby. So the female, however, never fully overcomes the feeling of inferiority and envy, which leaves indelible marks on her personality. Now you see how the inferiority personality is coming from. He still feels inferior by having a clitoris, which he thinks is something of no value. So that's where the feelings of inferiority comes from. And through this work indicates that children might have sexual feelings, and the childhood events can have a lasting impact on an individual's personality. For example, that kind of inferiority when you are a kid, you grow up with it. That's why most women, they are said to be inferior. Like you just feel inferior over men. So that's how some of these issues of personality, as we say, they come from childhood experiences. Because of that feeling as we were a kid. So that feeling of inferiority, you grow with it. So, however, this theory has met with a lot of criticisms, and other theories have modified fruit theory of identification. It also made some criticisms. So the basic issue or the key issue about this theory is about how childhood experiences influences personality, how it influences your behavior as you grow. I guess you get the main point of this theory. So the whole explanation of the penis, if whatever, was just trying to help us understand how some of these childhood experiences influence personality, like the issue of inferiority. Are we together?
Yeah, what was very inferiority. Of now, it's very inferiority minimum.
This is just an example of how childhood experiences influence personality. So we see most of women, like naturally, most women will feel inferior when in the presence of men. Maybe at least now, maybe due to the issues of women empowerment, women these days can dominate. Are we together on the psychoanalytic theory of Sigmund Freud?
Yes.
Are we together? Are we together? Okay. So the other one is social learning theories, which the owner, or it was proposed by Albert Bandura. You know Albert Bandura? You guys, did you already learn psychology? Introduction to psychology. Or maybe we should revisit your notes. I'm sure you learned, you did. Maybe you just forgot it. It's possible. So Bandura proposed or
Sociology is not even.
sociology mwena kuphunzira.
Uh,
Okay, the issue is you forgot it, but you learned. Yeah. At least be honest. We learned, but yeah, but you just forgot. So Bandura emphasizes that emphasizes on the role of observation, imitation, and reinforcement in the process of socialization. His emphasis is on the role of observation, imitation, and reinforcement in the process of socialization. You know, we learn new things through observation by just observing. For girls, just observing what a female parent is doing, you just copy, you start doing. So through observation, we also socialize. And imitation, you imitate. Maybe a woman is behaving in a certain way. You start imitating those kinds of behaviors. Or maybe it's your model. Sometimes you imitate what they do because it's your model. That's we get socialized. Or through reinforcement. Through reinforcement. By giving a positive reward to some behaviors. For example, if your child passes well in an exam, you give them something like a present. It's like a positive reward. It's like you are trying to reinforce so that they work hard. Next time they also pass well. Yeah, so that's a positive reward. One important idea of behaviorism is the notion of reinforcement, which is followed by a positive reward. So if you are rewarded positively, it means that kind of behavior is likely to occur or recur again. It will recur, definitely. So you remember the what Albert Bandura did when he was trying to condition a dog. You have forgotten. Condition a dog. He was trying to present food together with a bell. Okay, let me not go that far, but it's in Introduction to Psychology. Read something about Albert Bandura, you get it. So the emphasis is on observable interceded events rather than inferred intracyclic process like the audible fantasy. So the theory states that through observation, children learn behaviors associated with both parents so that they may imitate these behaviors through observation. Children learn new behaviors. So we learn new behaviors, like the children learn new behaviors through observation, observing what their parents are doing, and later they start imitating that kind of behavior. So when they do so, they are differently reinforced. The daughter will be rewarded for acting like a mother, while the boy may be looked upon with disapproval for the same behavior. So, for example, if a girl behaves or acts like a mother, for example, waking up early in the morning and you are rewarded, it means you'll be conditioned. You know that this is the right behavior for me to conduct myself. So you start maybe waking early in the morning each and every day as a woman. While if a man or a boy does the same, will be like, why do you behave like a girl? Maybe a boy is found in the kitchen cooking for more especially other cultures. People will be laughing at you. So if people are laughing at you, what will happen? It will be like negative reinforcement. Definitely you will not do that kind of behavior again. So because of our gender, I'm a girl, I copy, you imitate what the woman is doing in the home. And if you are a boy, you also do the same. So with time, through differential approval from parents, teachers, peers, and others, children begin to learn what they can do and what they cannot do. Through differential approval, because as I gave an example earlier on about a girl climbing a tree, if you scored that girl, that's a negative reinforcement because you want that girl to stop climbing trees because like it's not on for girls. So through differential approval from parents, they they learn what is the right thing to do and what is not the right thing to do. So in that case, it means they are being socialized. They are learning new behaviors or how they should behave or how they should conduct themselves as a girl or a boy. So they also, children may also learn through indirect reinforcement when they see what happens to others when they do certain things. And children learn by imitating or modeling. So I think I already gave an example of imitating behavior of a mother. If you're a girl, you'll be imitating the behavior. That's why I find most kids, girl child or girl children, you find them, yeah, because normally they see their mothers kubereka zidole, not the kanyamata kabe. In here I have a boy is 2 years and a girl 6 years, and my boy likes kubereka zidole. Kulikosa akaenda manyamula mwina zilipo follow azienda nazo akangonyamula this girl azilira azifuna zidole ziti, and everyone will be laughing. Why do you like babies as if you are a boy? That's what happens. Like, so with time, as he will be growing up, he will realize, no, I'm not supposed, because people are always laughing at him. So be like socialized, like, no, I don't have to play with teddy bears, whatever. Are we together on social learning theories? Which the key point is children imitate or observe behaviors from their parents. So through reinforcement, children learn new behaviors. Through imitation, reinforcement, and through observation. That's we learn new behaviors. It means you have been socialized. So, but those are the key points. Are we together? Okay. So the last one is cognitive development theories. Cognitive, which is based on the work of Jean Piaget and Laurence Colbig. So cognitive developmental theories focus on the progression of mental processes and how they influence social understanding and behavior. The progression of mental processes. So its basic assumption is that the child's reality is qualitatively different from adult's reality. Progression of mental processes, like the way the children will think, is not the same as an adult. Are we together? Yeah, so due to the main progression of the mental processes. As we are progressing, even our mental processes also, um, like we mature even in our mental processes, we think better as we can easily connect dots as we are growing up, unlike children. So the way a child sees the world changes in discrete stages until they view the world as adults. Like the way the children see things around the world is different from how adults look at things. So before the age of 5 to 7, children do not have the concept of conservation of physical properties. Before the age of 5 to 7, children do not have the concept of conservation of physical properties. I'll give an example of that one. For example, if let's take water, 100 mils. If you put in maybe a wide ball or a wide grass, and maybe something slim and tall. But if you take the same 100 mils, put in this cup, all of this grass and the other grass, the kids would definitely look as if they are different, like in amount, just because of the shape of the container. But for an older person, this one is just has a bigger base than the other one. They might be the same. So children and adults, they look at the world differently. So for them, as you are children, as they are kids, they cannot link things, or they cannot connect dots. So it becomes hard for them to understand things. So they do not have a concept of conservation of physical properties. For them, if you put the same amount in a wide bowl, they think it's little because they're looking at the mark, but the amount is almost the same. So one of the child's first task is to try and make sense of the world around them by looking for patterns in the physical and social world. Like at first, they do not really make sense of the world. Like the way things are, they do not make sense in the world, unlike older people. But with time, they'll try to make sense of the world by looking for patterns in the physical and social world. So they'll try to look for patterns in things. If A is equal to B, if A plus B is equal to C, B plus. So they start to look for patterns, how things are going. So once this pattern is discovered, the child spontaneously constructs a self and a set of social rules which are consistent with him or her. So for children, it's not easy to make sense of why things are happening this way. But as adults, as they are growing up, they try to look for patterns and now trying to understand why A is equal to B when as they are growing. So the organizing categories that children develop are called schema. They develop a schema where they try to organize maybe the information, trying to make sense of the information. So the organizing categories that children develop are called schema. And these are mental structures that help individuals organize and interpret information. At first, they will just look like isolated information, like things which are not connected. You cannot make sense. But later on in life, they start to organize that kind of information, and they can easily interpret and understand that kind of information. So the organizing categories that children develop are called schema. So socialization involves the development and refinement of these schemas, organizing information, and you interpret. If A is equal to B, or A plus B is equal to C. So with time, they will try to organize different kind of information. Why is this happening this way? So sex is a useful schema for young children because sex is relatively stable and easily differentiated category with a variety of obvious physical clues attached to it. Sex is a useful schema. So for young children, because sex is relatively stable, like if they look, make for example, if you look at the genitalia, they know this is a woman, this is a man, or this is a boy, this is a girl, because sex does not change. So there is organized information. So if a girl has this part, if a person has this part, is a girl. If someone has this part, it will be a boy. So children first use this category to label themselves, to organize their own identities. I think this is in line with uh, Sigmund Freud. As they are growing, I mean, yes, as they are growing up, they try to identify or organize their own identities and then apply the schema to others in an effort to organize traits and behaviors into classes of masculine or feminine. So with time, they try to differentiate a man or a woman, but at first, they will just use the sex category, like this is a man, this is a woman. And then when they see the outlook, the physical outlook of a man, this one is a man, this one is a woman, or this is a girl, this is a boy. So even in terms of social roles, they start also to make sense out of it. Like, oh, so men are doing this, women are doing this, so they also do try to do the same. And they attach values to what they observe as good or bad, depending on whether it is gender appropriate or not. So as they grow, they observe what is good or bad in relation to gender. Is it gender appropriate? As a man, am I supposed to do this? Because if a girl is identifying himself as a woman, they will be looking for what a woman does. So they will look at it whether it is good or bad to do that kind of behavior. So once children develop stable gender identities, they begin to prefer gender typed activities or objects as they grow. They develop gender identities. Now you identify yourself as a man or a woman, a boy or a girl. So even the roles or the gender typed activities, the gender roles that you perform will be similar to sex or to sex. If you are a male or a girl, you know what you are supposed to do as a girl. The roles you are supposed to play as female. Are we together on the last point? Last theory. Are we together on cognitive development theory? It deals with the mental processes, the way you construct things around the world, the way you make sense out of things in the world. So as I said, as children, as when they are young, they may not make sense of the world. Like the way a small person or a young boy looks at the world will be different from bigger person or an adult. It's different because it's not easy for them to make sense of the world. But as they are growing up, they try to start organizing the information, interpreting the information. So they develop a schema, as we said, a schema, organizing and interpreting information, whatever they see. So if they see a boy, they already interpret. So a boy can do this, can dress like this, whatever. So they start connecting dots as they grow up. Are we together? But I will encourage you to read the Sigmund Freud theories. Sigmund Freud, yeah. It will help you understand. Which but Bandura is his own theory about socialization, yeah. Mm. So assignment, analyze the socialization theories discussed in this lesson and come up with strengths and weaknesses of these theories in as far as gender socialization is concerned for next week. So I know when I say you, when I give an assignment, you find 1 or 2 people coming. So I'll add 5. It will be for the case of discussion. So anyone who want to build, I'll add 5 marks to the overall marks of the assignment, even 10 marks, because I know people don't like. Because I give assignments for the sake of discussions. We understand. You take your time to research. Because as you are doing this, like analyzing the socialization theories, it means you also be reading. So the moment you manage this assignment, it means you have understood all the theories of socialization, those 3 theories. Let's have 5 minutes break. So method 3 will look at historical developments in the gender and development approach. Gender and development approach. So by the end,
Unit 3.
So by the end of this lesson, you should be able to understand gender division of labor, identify the goal of feminism, trace the development of feminism, explain the reaction of feminist theories to what they call gender neutrality in conventional sociology, describe the reason that led to fragmentation in the feminist movement, and relate feminism to gender. So let's look at the gender division of labor. So gender division of labor is the division of labor between men and women. The division of labor between men and women refers to the roles and the responsibilities assigned to men and women based on gender. The roles of men and women based on gender, which are assigned based on gender. The role and responsibilities are assigned to men and women based on gender. So as men and women, we know what how we are supposed to behave, or how the roles we are supposed to take, or the responsibilities we are supposed to take by virtue of being a man or a woman. So as we said, gender is socially constructed. What we do, the roles and the responsibility that we play in our societies is constructed by our own societies, those roles, because gender is a social construct. So this refers not only to the analysis of who does what, like in terms of division of roles and responsibilities or division of labor, but also for how much and how tasks are distributed. Gender division of labor does not only focus on the analysis of who does what, like maybe males perform these roles or females perform these roles, but also for how much and how tasks are distributed. So it examines the links between the division and relationship of authority, decision making, and control at all stages of production and distribution process. It also examines the links between the division and relationship of authority. Who has more authority between men and women when it comes to decision making process? Who makes most of the decisions between men and women, and who controls maybe the production resources between men and women? So it's culture which is responsible for this. In most cases, it's other culture. When we talk of authority, who has more authority between men and women? We give more authority to men. This is cultural constructed. Something is which is made because of culture. Even decision making at household level, we already know who makes more decisions. The man, by just being the breadwinner, we know the man is supposed to make most of the decisions. So this is it's because of culture. So if a woman makes decisions without informing or without approval of a woman of a man, it becomes problematic in most societies. And also the issue of control of production and distribution processes. When we talk of control, for example, production resources, who control most of the resources is men. If you talk of capital land, it be men. So gender theories and their relationship to development. Gender theories and their relationship to development. So a theory is a set of ideas which claims to explain how something works. Set of ideas that explains how something works. So if you say if someone presents with depression, we know this is depression due to when we compare with theory, because theory says someone which with depression may be lost, becomes absent-minded, maybe they want to be lonely, maybe lack of appetite, lack of sleep. So if theory tells us these signs and symptoms are the ones we call someone to have depression, it means because some people did research and come up with different theories to say if you present with this you have depression, if you present yourself with this you have malaria. That's why even sometimes you go to the hospital, even before testing they know you have malaria, they'll send you for malaria test because of your presentation. It's because of what theory says. If someone presents themselves with these signs and symptoms, they have malaria. So gender theories are theories that claim to explain the relationship between men and women in the society. Gender theories. These are theories that claim to explain the relationship between men and women in the societies and the consequences of this relationship. The relationship of being being a man or a woman. It also has its own consequences. When we come to, when we think of decision-making issues, you already know, like a man is supposed to make major decisions, for example. So the issue of gender, when we talk of the relation between men and women, it also has its own consequences. So sociological theory has been accused by feminist social theorists of producing a sociology beneficial to men and ignoring half of the human race, which are women. So sociologists or sociological theory was accused or has been accused by feminists as to say sociology mostly benefits men and it ignores women. So that's what led to the issue of feminism. Be like, if men are favored or whatever happens benefits men, how can we make sure that women also benefit? So feminism mostly simply can be defined as equality between the sexes. Feminist social theorists, they saw that sociology in most cases benefits or it benefits men unlike women. So for feminists, they try to advocate for equality between men and women because of that feeling to say mostly women are ignored unlike men. So feminism looks at creating opportunities and outcomes in all environments of life for women that are equal to those created for men. They try to advocate for equality in terms of opportunities. If there are opportunities, there should be equal access between men and women, or outcomes should be equal between men and women. So feminists are concerned with the inherent sex bias or sexism in traditional sociological research. The issue of sex bias, like one gender being favored unlike the other. So they try to deal with such issues whereby women are being discriminated, oppressed, or being exploited. So this feeling of women being a disadvantaged section of the society, feminists